Wisconsin Lutheran College women's soccer head coach, Mr. Tony Pierce. Tony, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So it's like we're continuing our women's soccer spotlight this week.
In a way, we are. Yeah, it's a two-parter almost this week. So, Tony, we're excited to have you on the program. Simon and I know you personally because I went to Wisconsin Lutheran. Simon still works here. I've had a chance to watch you from the coaching perspective. I know Simon knows you a little bit more before when you were still doing your playing days as well. So, why don't we talk a little bit about the coaching season right now? You guys have a couple months still until opening day for you. September 1st, I believe, is opening day. I believe against
I think that's
Lake
right
Park.
around, yeah.
So you've been now here at Wisconsin Lutheran for a total of 6 years. You were here for a couple years, took a couple years off. Now you're back again. So you're 4 years back into the process of everything. And can you kind of give us a little synopsis of how last season went and how we're looking going into this year?
Yeah, last year we had a young team and really kind of an unproven team. And as we've been going through in the growth process, kind of changing the culture of what the women's soccer program is about here at WLC, we went through some growing pains, and last year I think our team was a tight unit, but we just had to learn each other and what it was about to play together, and we took our lumps and we played some quality teams. I think we had 3 teams that were in the top 25 in the country, and maybe we jumped the gun a little bit by scheduling those guys, but I want us to be able to compete with those those teams and our players to see what it's like to be in that environment, and like I said, for us to be able to handle it. And so this coming season, the girls have been working hard in the off season. We started our non-traditional season last week, and everybody's on board. Everybody's been working hard. They've been involved in the PEP program over at Freighter.
That's huge. Okay.
Yeah, and you can tell that it's helped them. It's helping build their confidence, and so it's just an exciting time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely you can sense the feeling a little bit. Now, I mean, when you look at a team on paper, it's different than what you as a coach see day in and out, because on paper, from anybody just stepping back, it's like you look at how the last 4 seasons have gone, and unfortunately, they've progressively gotten worse if you look at them on paper. But as a coach, you have a different insight. You've seen some fantastic ladies come and go. You've weeded out those players that maybe were just there for a different agenda and now are here, and you've got your core group of ladies. And I do feel, at least from the conversations we were having even off air as well, it sounds like you're really gung-ho on this group of ladies that you've got coming in. But I mean, last season you finished 9th in conference. You finished 2-8 overall in conference. But moving into this season, you've got obviously another tough slate of games as always. But do you have? I know it's still very early. You haven't finished all the recruiting process and everything yet, too. But what is your preseason message to your gals right now?
Well, it's really about just being the best we can be, and that's all anybody can ever ask of a player is just do your best. And with that, I think we'll have some results, but also the time that they've put in the weight room, playing indoor on their own, getting together for some kick-arounds, all those things are going to come into play and I think help us next season as we step onto the field. I think we're going to surprise some teams. We still, are looking to finish, some goals. We've increased a little bit of point production, but it's still not, what we need to be successful. And I think with the attitude and with the girls working in the off season, they're going to see, that they're healthier, that they're able to just compete with other teams, fight for balls, win some things, and then good things are going to happen, which hopefully puts us in a little better position than we have been in the past.
Mm-hmm. Tony, I know you stated that one of your goals is to get in the conference tournament this year. What do you have to do to get there?
Well, again, it's we have to not give up as many goals as we have in the past. We've it seems like at times we've had some mental lapses where you give up 1 and now all of a sudden you give up 3, and that has to stop. But, I believe that that'll happen for us this coming year. We'll tighten things up, but then again, it comes down to scoring some goals to where we can be competitive and let teams know that we're on the field with, that they're in for a battle.
Is that a personnel issue in terms of like the people that you have on the team, or is it the teams that you're playing that you have those struggles?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think depending on, who you're playing and where you're playing them. You look at, let's say, Lake Park, Lake Forest, a large portion of their roster are also hockey players. And so when you get on,
it can be intimidating.
When you get on the when you get onto the turf with them, the game is very fast. It's and they come at you and just keep coming after you, and they're very physical. When we've had them at our place, the result has been a little different, where the grass is a little bit slower, the game slows down, and our field's a little bigger, and so we're able to spread it out and avoid some of that contact. But like I said, now I think as our girls begin, their second year of lifting in the off season and getting themselves stronger, the physical side of it doesn't become as big of a factor.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree.
Yeah, moving on to a more general question, we talked about this a little bit, but this is a Division III school that you coach at. So I'm curious about what some of the extra challenges are. You don't have scholarships to offer. No Division III school ever does. So how does that make it different with recruiting versus being a Division II or Division I school?
Well, yeah, at the Division I level, if you offer a player some money, everybody thinks that, there's scholarships out there and stuff. But in reality, at the Division I level, on the men's side, there's 9.9 scholarships for a fully funded program, and for women, there's 14. And so it's not a lot but you get, even just if you offer somebody, hey, we can pay you, $500 for books, then they're able to say, hey, I'm getting a scholarship.
Sure.
And that makes everybody feel better. But, let's face it, at the Division III level, the girls that are coming in, the school actually has some great academic scholarships that are out there.
Absolutely.
And I don't care whether, hey, however you're getting the money to help, alleviate the stress of the cost of the, school is wonderful. But, our presidential scholarship is $15,000, cuts cost of school in half, and that's just tremendous, So trying to get them to understand that, okay, it's not athletic, but it still is a scholarship that you've earned by doing well in school. You're going to receive this money, and so, you should be proud of that. Those merit scholarships are huge.
Yeah, and there's also something to be said, too, about having a smart person be on your team, on the field, because generally that means they're going to be a smart player as well.
Certainly helps, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I can attest to that, though, too, Tony. I mean, that's the reason I ended up here at WLC, is because I was recruited, by the men's soccer coach, but then I was offered just a very good financial aid package, and I knew going in for Division III, it was like, hey, we can't offer you an athletic scholarship, but we can offer you other scholarships based off of how you did, and ultimately that's why I chose to go here. I mean, the program looked like a lot of fun, but also, I knew when I got out of college in 4 years that I wouldn't have as big a debt as I was going to, and that's the thing you accept to go into a Division III school, regardless of how big or small the program is, regardless of how successful it is. Be like, look, I'm here because A, I love soccer, I love it, and B, I'm going to be getting an education. Like, that's more so a focus as well.
Yeah, the bottom line, is exactly that you're going to walk away getting an education, and the soccer experience is going to be enjoyable. It's going to be good. It just really helps supplement the educational side, but. There's a place for everybody. I mean, regardless of where you are on the spectrum, there's a place for you to play in this country, at the collegiate level.
Exactly.
And, here we are trying to, find players that help us get better. But, to answer Simon's question, it's tough. It's tough to get the players to understand that, hey, you can have really the best of all worlds by coming to a Division III program. The one thing, and even when I was coaching at the Division I level, and I tell it even to the gals that come in, our recruits, I say, hey, the one thing you have to ask yourself is, if you get hurt tomorrow and you can't play anymore,
exactly,
do you still want to be at school here? And if the answer is yes, then you're in the right spot. And so many players go away or go somewhere to play because of a scholarship, and yet when they get hurt, now they're lost and they don't want to be there, and it's, some problems creep up.
That's exactly what happened to me too. My freshman year, I played most of my freshman season, then I broke my foot, and then I was originally from Florida. Here I am in Milwaukee, never been before, and I'm like, I was able to meet enough professors and ultimately my wife, which certainly helped me wanting to stay. So, but yeah, you're right though. That's definitely the thing at this stage. It's like, hey, if you look obviously from the academic perspective, it's like soccer is that added bonus. Like, hey, I'm going to get a great education, but I'm going to keep playing the game I love as well. Right. So, well, Tony, we know that from a coaching perspective, you also do other things in the Wisconsin area aside from the college area. You coach at a couple other places in the area. Is that right?
Well, I do some work with Pewaukee Sussex United. I'm actually, my title is Director of Select Soccer, but Brian Staus is the Director of Coaching there, and I'm kind of under him.
Okay.
And I help with coaching education and just really trying to help their program. It's a young program. The two communities came together about 4 years ago, and they're working through some of those bugs. And so it just kind of, being able to give back some experience that I have in the game and that I've been through, and help share, some of that knowledge. Hopefully, they think it's very knowledge, but we'll see.
I would assume so. So.
But, I love it. Obviously, I love the game, been around it for so many years, and, it's been great to me, and, I can't say enough. So anytime I can be involved, it's enjoyable regardless of what level it is.
So speaking of playing the game, you had won a championship back in the 80s, a national championship with UConn, where you were obviously the starting goalkeeper. But along with that, when I was a young lad, Tony, about 5, 6, 7, up through my teens.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 5 or 6 years ago. I was like, okay, so
I remember going to Milwaukee Wave games, and one of my favorite players to watch was this young goalkeeper, number 31.
That's correct.
His name was Tony Pierce. You played indoor soccer when it was in its heyday. It was the thing that kept professional soccer alive in this country. People such as Baxter's age really don't get how big indoor soccer was at that time.
Still don't, no. Even after all the research and everything, I'm like, I don't understand the draw. What is it?
Well, it's interesting, Simon, that you mentioned, kind of, bridging that gap between the old NASL and then, when MLS came about. And it was a blast. When I came out of college, the NASL went under, and so indoor was where those players flooded into, and it was a blast. It really was, and I was fortunate enough to end up here in Milwaukee, and from day one, it was a ton of fun. We watched the thing grow from playing in the auditorium, Mech Auditorium, to the arena, to the Bradley Center. And
let me just jump in for the people listening to the show. So that went from playing in a place that was about 2,000 seats to about 10,000 seats, and the Bradley Center I think is 17,000, 18,000.
About 18,000, yeah. And we, I think we averaged, when we were at the Bradley Center, we averaged around 12,000.
Yeah.
And there were, probably 10, 12 games that we sold the place out. I have some nice photos from the rafters where, the place would be rocking, and so a ton of fun. But no, it was a great time. And, like you said, guys that you were playing against would be, had played for their national team. Guys like Johan Nieskens, who had played for Holland in the 74, 78 World Cup. Bernd Heltzenbein, who had played for West Germany, and amongst others, but it was a treat. And, here you are, at that time I was 23, and just like, after the game, you go up and you're shaking the guys. It was a pleasure to be on the field today with you. Oh my word! But our rivalry between Chicago at that time, that had Karl-Heinz Granitza and Brett Hall and some other guys that Michael Richardson, who eventually finished his career in Milwaukee, but just really talented guys, and it was fun. The games were intense, and the way the ball was held and the ball moved, and just a lot of fun. Like I said, I can't say it enough. It really was. It was a pleasure, and it was one of those things I had always dreamed of, playing professional soccer, and so I got to live it for 10 years. It was great.
And I got to imagine as a goalkeeper, in some ways, the indoor game is a lot more fun to play than the outdoor game.
Different, outdoor is kind of that purist, you think about it, but I love grass and, being outside and some different things you have to deal with outside, dealing with crosses and stuff. But indoor, you're involved probably every 30 to 45 seconds. You're getting a touch on the ball, whether it's with your feet or with your hands. And then, obviously, things are much closer. So reaction saves become more prevalent. Outdoor game, if you make 12 saves a game, you're busy. Indoor game, you're making...
It was a slow night.
yeah, 12 saves, you're like nothing. You didn't do anything.
You were on the bench.
Yeah. So, but though, heck, man, 25 saves in a game, 30 saves, and you earned your money for sure. It was crazy. The end of my first year in Milwaukee, I wasn't used to training kind of day of the game. We would train in the morning if we had a 7:00 game and stuff like that, going and just learning to be a professional. But I had lost. I came into the team at about 175, 180 pounds, and by the end of that first season, I was down to about 164 pounds.
Wow! Okay.
So I played 33 of 40 games that year, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the trainer took me in to the doctor and stuff, and they're like, well, you're at about 3% body fat. We got to get some weight on you. We got to, and then from then on, I managed to lift a little bit and start eating a little better and that type of thing, and played the rest of my career at about 185. So, but
that's a good size.
yeah, it was great. It was great.
I loved going to the games, watching them, and it's a pleasure to have you on. And I want to say one little thing: Milwaukee Wave is still around. Granted, indoors not as big as it was, obviously, with the outdoor game becoming so big in this country, but Milwaukee Wave's still around, and I want to say something. Tony Pierce's number deserves to be retired. I've said that for a number of years.
To that.
Again, even before I met you, Tony. I've always been confused about that. So if anybody from the Wave is listening to this, get Tony Pierce's number retired. It's well-deserved.
Well, Tony, we appreciate you being on, sir. It was a distinct pleasure as always, and I know I always enjoyed chatting with you as well during the college days as well, and certainly one of those coaches that I would have loved to have been able to have a chance to play for at some point. So.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys, and it's wonderful being here anytime.